No, I don't care about the meaning of a word. No, and that's the first thing that I will say as we're live. We're live! Everybody, welcome back. Yeah. Who gives a fuck about the meaning of a word? Doesn't matter.
The four of us
No.
that are in this chat, I do. I really do.
Oh, Phoebe's internet broke. Oh. Everybody, thank you very much for
bourbon
coming back.
biscuits for you,
Excuse me. Let me do my intro, woman. For fuck's sake. So everybody, thank you very much for coming back tonight to the after party. We had John on earlier from Apocolplypse Here. Links is in the description. Thanks to Spartan. Spartan has joined us. He is feeding the baby at the minute, so we will have him intermittently. But it was actually Spartan who introduced me and John and set the whole thing up. It's been maybe a month or so, maybe a few months in the making. We've got our own wee Twitter group and all. We've got the speed. And yeah, we've been joined by Phoebe. If I don't mention her, she will have a fucking shit attack. Phoebe and her giant ego is here. And we have been joined tonight for the first time by Red Person, who is a long time watcher, first time joiner. So thank you very much, Red, for coming in.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so everybody, Phoebe, we'll let you go first. Go on. Introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
Well, I am a former white nationalist, Zionist, now helping people recover from extremism, radicalization, and helping people exploring deconverting from religion. That's what I do.
And other stuff, but she's just trying not to scare John. But if you watched Ed's interview with Phoebe, it's a great interview. Don't watch the one she had on my channel. It's shit. Watch Ed's. Far better.
Watch the one on this channel, and then you can get all of the advertising for the one on Ed's channel.
Red, you're also new. You said a wee bit that you do a wee bit on Twitch. Would you like to shill ever so slightly?
Yeah, I stream on Twitch. Ophelia Hartwig is my Twitch stream over there, sometimes with my mom when we do cooking. I also do crafting. I'm also, I'm a genderqueer pansexual, married to a trans woman who has a Mormon upbringing. So I kind of
you're a wee ball of laughs, aren't you? You're a whole ball of laughs, aren't you?
So, you know, that's, I ended up here on this channel, landed here a while back, and been watching for, as I said, a while, and happy to be on tonight. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you admitted that you only watched half of it, so I'm not going to talk to you. We're going to go to Phoebe. She was there from the start. Phoebe, what did you think of the interview? Have you anything you'd like to ask John?
Why did you come on his show? Why did you actually come on? No, seriously. Why would you come into what would...
So our internet's broke again. Come up with a better question. Better question.
I was going to ask him why he came on to what would be perceived as a hostile environment.
Because I don't perceive it that way.
Good question.
It is a very good question. I just don't. I don't perceive it that way, and I never really have engaging with people who are coming from different sorts of backgrounds and different sorts of perspectives than I do. Yeah, I mean, part of it was obviously the connection, more concretely the connection that Spartan made with me and MathPig, and he seemed like a cool guy. His channel seemed cool, so
yeah. My reputation precedes me. I don't think I'm aggressive that often. No. I do shout and scream. Yeah, there's been a few incidences where I've told people to go and fuck themselves something serious, but they deserved it. Most of them generally deserved it.
But do you think people who you know from your Christian world will think you coming on here will have been going to a hostile environment?
No, the Christian circles that I run in would definitely not. Absolutely not.
Would they even know that you came on here?
Yeah, I mean, I've shared it with folks who go. I mean, I work in the pastoral leadership at my church, and I share when I'm going to be on somewhere on Twitter, and people at the church follow me on Twitter, and they, yeah.
Just curious.
So, yeah.
Tell them to like and subscribe and all that bullshit.
Yes.
I will.
Thing is, let's bring up.
I'll put it in the. I'll put it in the church newsletter for next week.
Also, anyone, John, you're involved in the first one, so feel free to upload to your channel, do what you want on it. You know, you're part of the show.
Yeah.
So all yours. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I was invited now, going from the opposite side. I don't know if you've ever heard of Alpha, the Alpha program through churches. Phoebe, do you know what the Alpha program is? With Bear Grylls, yeah. Yeah. I was invited to one of them before, and I've watched after being invited to it, I then went on YouTube and watched the videos. What they do is they play a video, and then they have a discussion afterwards. It's supposed to be very open, it's supposed to be very liberal, and they want to bring people in who are non-believers to, help with this. But my goodness, they're loaded questions. It's loaded from
the way I would describe it is conversion by stealth.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like 30 of them, and it was a Presbyterian church, and he invited me, and I was like, nope, sorry. But if you want to come to an interview with my channel, fine. But I am not going to go and sit in a church with 30 of yous watching Alpha. I don't know. Look up Alpha, man. Bear Grylls. Type in Bear Grylls Alpha, and you'll fucking find it.
And the symbol is a question mark. The symbol is a giant red question mark.
Yeah.
Usually being carried by somebody.
That I would have seen as not a hostile environment, but a very one-sided environment. I do try and be, as I said earlier before the end of the stream, try and have this community as open and as accepting as we possibly can. We do have pagans that watch, we have Christians that watch. I'm quite chuffed. I do find that if I go to a few other atheist channels without mentioning names and stuff like that, you will not see Christians in the live chat unless they're there giving shit, unless they're there shouting and disagreeing and things like that. I do find that the live chat here, we are quite accepting, and as long as you're not a prick. Even Untangelo comes here quite regularly, for fuck's sake, You know Untangelo?
I know of him.
Yeah. Untangelo's not bad. He's probably, I've said too many nice things about Untangelo. I'll not make his head any bigger, but yeah. For a crazy Christian, he's not that bad. So, John, your experience tonight, have you anything that you would like to then, as we'll turn the tables, ask me?
Ooh. Was not expecting that. To answer your first question, I enjoyed it greatly. It was a great time. Enjoyed chatting with you. It's sort of what I expected.
Oh,
be a
predictable.
great back and forth, and
My internet broke.
It was a joy. It was a joy. Yeah. And I'm sure you've talked about this before, but just if you could give me just a few words on this, how you kind of got into this YouTube world, how and kind of why did you do that?
I have always I deconverted, so to speak. That story that I have a mentioning of, that happened in around the age of 11. It goes down. I was in the Salvation Army. I was in training to be a junior soldier. Top of a Sunday school class and Bible down. It's down the stairs, but it's covered in top of class stickers and stuff like that. So many God and Jesus loves me stickers. So many. It's fucking. And my mother and father went through a divorce. I was going to church, the Salvation Army, 3 times on Sunday. In the morning meeting, I was going in the afternoon for the Sunday school, and then helping out at night for the older people's ceremony. We were going on a Wednesday, going on a Friday for Bible study. Big into it. And when my parents broke up, we had what is known as the testimonial chair at the front, which was basically a church pew. The rest of the chairs were all just normal school chairs. Them grey 4-legged ones. But we had a church.
Plastic ones.
Yeah. And we had an actual church pew sort of thing at the front, and it was gold engraved writing and all that. And you went up there to do your testimony, And I went up there, and I was just I've described it as looking a hug. I knew that my mother and father weren't going to get together again. I knew that there was problems and stuff like that. I was mature enough to know that this wasn't going to happen. But I sort of described it as wanting a hug, And nothing happened. I didn't get that sensation. I didn't get that feeling. I didn't get that it's going to be okay. I didn't get that, And I then, over a period of time, started going less and less. Started going out. I'm now 12 and 13. I'm in high school. There's booze and there's ladies. So I'm going to go and do that. And instead of going to church all the time, and moved away from that. Became a goth for a while. White makeup, black nails, lipstick, the lot, all that sort of shit. And always, Cradle of Filth and all that, man, yeah. Over a period of time, as I said earlier, moved from that into then a wee bit of deism. Was a big proponent of the Akashic field for a long time. And that was just a label. It was not something that I could, it was the sort of route that I would have thought of. But the whole idea of God, the whole idea of it's what people believe. I really, really should have fucking, you know, the idea of the mind, the idea of why people believe. You know, to steal a line from the Matrix, the decision is already made. It's the why behind it. That's what I'm after. You know, it's always something I wanted to do. I've watched a lot of Aaron Ra and Non-Stamp Collector edited videos for maybe 8 years, 10 years. Was going with a girl, didn't have an awful lot of friends, was watching an awful lot of that, and stumbled upon the community when Aaron Ra debated Kent Hovind on the Non Sequitur show. Then from that found everybody, and I thought that I like to talk, as I've been rambling on. I like to talk, I like to have these conversations, to the point where I bought a private license plate for my black tinted window car that is 666, so I can start these conversations, you know. And I like to talk to people, I like to do this, so it's an outreach, and it's become a community. It was more of a way to, as an excuse to grab people like yourself, to grab people like Sammy, to grab people and just talk to them and find out why. But as it's grown over time, it's become a community of family and friends, and we've done things through the community that you've done with the prison outreach and stuff like that. We've helped people out, we've fundraised, we've been there. I've done suicide watch and things like that, and you know, I feel attached to the community now, sort of like I'm obliged to fucking, you should help. If you can help, you should help. And through the community now and through the channel, it's given me that ability, not so much to go out and look for fucking needy people, but the people know that the community is there, you know. Never met Red before, don't know why she's here, but she's here. She found us, you know. We stalked Phoebe a wee bit, stole her from Ed's good channel, and you know, we bring people together, and it's become that, you know. It's become something I have no fucking control over. I was aiming for edited videos going down philosophical and physics routes, and it's ended up with me talking shite to complete strangers about God. It's so there,
that's awesome. Thank you, for sharing that.
Everybody left. It was 10, we're now at 7. They're all fucking sick of it. They've all heard it before.
Phoebe, I think you had a question for John.
Yeah, you did. You had a last one. Yeah.
You were saying that you were migrating away from church employment. How long has that been going on in your own head? And when did you actually finally pull the trigger?
Yeah.
And go, yes, that's actually a thing that I'm actually going to do.
Good question. It was made easy by the fact that my wife got a job in a different state, so we're gonna have to move soon. But I had been thinking about moving away from the church probably the last year, and I would say mostly because of kind of burnout. It's a lot being on a pastoral staff of a fairly sizable church, and like not that I don't dearly love the people there, because I do, but I just started feeling about a year ago or so that like I don't know how to explain it other than feeling a sense of burnout, and like and it's not that there wasn't support for me or anything like that. It's just there was a desire to kind of try other stuff out in terms of employment, and like that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I feel like the move that we're going to be going on soon kind of gives me a kind of a fresh start. Not that I won't be doing the Apocolplypse Here stuff, not that I won't be talking about theology and philosophy and biblical studies anymore, but that'll be more of kind of a side thing than kind of everything that I do every day of the week.
So it's like a natural break for you with your...
Yeah. It does feel like that. Yeah. Thank you for asking, though.
I have a question in relation to that. Is there any type of like theistic shift that happened along with that as far as your beliefs go, or have your beliefs remained steady? It was just an employment decision. No judgment, just asking.
No, strictly an employment decision. The church that I was serving at with some wonderful colleagues I'm going to dearly miss being a part of that church, not just in being in leadership, but like part of the mission of that church was to be a welcoming space for LGBTQIA plus people, and like that's central to the mission of the church, and that created a kind of diversity and community of love and belonging that I'm going to dearly miss. I just am not feeling like I want to continue on in a leadership position at another church. I will continue to try to find another church, but it's at this point it feels like I'm not going to find one as great as the one I was a part of.
Every church
Yeah.
is now gonna have, they're all going to be referred back to that one.
So that's hard,
that's your
but-
measuring stick now. Well, that's good
Exactly.
that is a measuring stick, as we made reference to in the interview. You know, you're
Yeah.
very lucky, especially in America, especially in the South. You know,
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, no question.
You know, considering being in North
No question.
Carolina and going
Yeah.
to a church that accepts LGBTQ, and not only accepting but makes that part of their mission
Yeah, yeah.
in the South. You're very
It's-
lucky, man. Do you do the lotto?
Yeah.
Do you do the lotto?
I am extremely lucky to have been a part of that, and like a lot of my job was sort of being in charge of education programming for the church. So part of the mission for that dimension of the church was to bring in sort of anti-racism type stuff into the curriculum that we were teaching, not just to adults but to children. So I that was becoming a really important part of my work the past year, and I was going to be setting up a camp for children, an anti-racist camp for children this summer, and of course that's not going to end up happening, but I hope that someone can kind of pick that up, and I hope that the next person can kind of, whoever that is, can fit into that kind of vision. So yeah.
No, well, I really appreciate that. As I've said the whole way through the interview, and as I think Beej actually made a reference to, you'd be the good person you are without the God you worship. You know, and
I agree
that's
with
the
that.
same sort of of course you
Yeah.
would. You're modest as well.
Yeah.
Have you met Phoebe? Big ego. You know, it's
No,
but I
very well behaved so far.
I know. I'm poking the bear. I'm poking the bear. I really do get that feeling from yourself, as I do from Spartan. And me and Spartan all the time, because I know him a wee bit better, I would poke at him every now and again, you know.
I don't know about him, but yeah.
He's a bit of a weirdo, you know. But
Yeah, I know.
he's got a. You're not allowed to pull the baby card. That's not fair.
Yeah, you can't
Come
make
on.
fun of me. You can't make fun of me right now.
But you know, like Spartan as well. There's certain Christians that I do know that if you get past that label, if you get past the Christianity, if you get past the, you know, that, you'd still be a good person. One of the only things that I will disagree with you on, I didn't say it at the time, is when you said earlier that God is love, music is love. Be it that's the only thing I'll disagree with you on. I found feeling and descriptions in music from love more so than I've found in the church and from God and reading a 2,000-year-old book, if you understand
Sure.
what I mean. Music is more emotional. It's even there, you know. I can just turn it up if I want to listen to it more. Can't ask God to turn up his volume. He doesn't.
turn up the music.
In saying
God.
that,
yeah,
have
right.
you ever, there's a question, have you ever had an experience where you've been spoken to by God?
In terms of like an audible voice that just says something to you.
No, well, not an audible voice. That's, you know, I don't want to think that you're fucking insane. You're in the kitchen making a sandwich.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna
it's
say,
like, John,
I have.
Are you having auditory hallucinations?
John, I've something to ask you.
Yeah, I did.
Is this like a
Yes,
Monty
I'd like you to
Python
discuss all of your
situation?
auditory hallucinations.
But you know what I mean?
I mean, I'd be happy to tell you guys if you want.
Yeah,
but-
we'll get to Red. Yeah, go. Well, Red, you've had an audible one.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We'll,
Yeah,
we'll go
I've
with your
heard the voice of
craziness.
God.
We'll go with your craziness, and then we'll go on to John.
I mean, I don't mean this as any respect to you guys Spartan, John, who are Christians. I was a Christian actually at the time that I had this experience. I used to be a horseback rider when I was a kid, and an experience that I had where I was training a young horse cross country. He tripped on a jump and like fell on me, and I had just gotten a new saddle, and I typically ride with safety stirrups where like if your foot gets caught in the stirrup, it just like pops out. But because it was a new saddle, I hadn't switched out stirrups yet. And when he fell on me, my foot got caught in the stirrup, and he stood up. And I while he was laying on me, I heard this voice that said, "Make your leg go limp." And I ignored it. I was just like, whatever, like I'm pulling my leg, like physically pulling my leg out from underneath of this horse. Yeah. And as this horse begins to stand up, I hear it again, louder and more forcefully. "Make your leg go limp." And I was like, okay. And I'm getting goosebumps right now, like talking about it, because as soon as I did, my foot somehow managed to drop from that stirrup as the horse was standing up. He spooked and took off running. I'm
agreeing with Beej in the live chat. That's your subconscious telling you already something that you've learned, something that you know.
Something.
Yeah. You know, and you're panicking, so your brain is like, right, I can't think right now. She's having a shit attack. The only thing she's going to do is an audible. It's your brain trying to communicate.
I heard an auditory men's voice. Yeah, like I could tell you like the man's voice, his accent, the tone of voice. Like yeah,
but it was
absolutely 100% a hallucination.
If the person beside you, you know, well that's my interpretation of it. That's how I see that. What I was aiming with John is, you know, with the whole. I don't think that converted you to Christianity though, Red. You were already.
No, I was a Christian at the time, actually.
Oh,
and I now consider myself an atheist.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I feel it's more subconscious, more, you know, it's your subconscious telling you. But what I'm aiming with John is, obviously, as I say, you're not fucking crazy. You're not making a sandwich and he's telling you to kill your kid at the top of a mountain or anything like that. I thought it was funny now looking back at it. My wee girl was in that stone altar at the top of a mountain. I could have been that, you know. Yeah. No, I wouldn't do that. I love my daughter.
You got to get a ram with you, though.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, have you had a moment of clarity, a moment of perspective, a moment of where you felt you have been touched by the hand of God, not a Catholic priest, the hand of God?
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ did it. Wow. I didn't know time machines were a thing.
Yeah.
Where can I get hold of one?
I'm welcome to the stay. This is the stay. Come on, I'm Irish. Like, Jesus, you know.
That was a good joke.
We have a running joke over here during the summer for all us pale ginger folk. You know, I'd be sweating like a priest in a Barney suit.
Aussie hasn't even commented yet.
I know, I've been waiting, Sammy. You've been so quiet, I forgot you were there. Sorry, John. Let John know.
No, you're fine. So just to kind of, I guess, frame this. I mean, I pray, like I pray in private and also, you know, in church. Yeah. We have prayers that we say collectively together in church, and so that's. If you're doing that with some sort of sincerity, I think that's trying to discern what God is asking you to do. I think God is real. So
I have a question about that. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up?
No. I want to hear. If
Yeah.
he's had an
Yeah. We'll come back to it. Yeah.
I want to hear if he's had an experience. Have you had an experience?
No.
Like that?
I mean, I can't name a specific experience where I was like, yeah, for sure, this is definitely God saying something to me specifically here to do this thing. Personally, what I have found is through communal prayer together in the context of churches, I think that's where I found multiple people attending to the God that we worship in those communities to ask for some kind of guidance and some kind of way of acting and being in the world. But that's not quite the same thing as saying that I've had some sort of like, you know, I was in my room alone and suddenly God came in and, you know.
I used to work in a place and I'll send you a link to their website, and it is a young earth creationist church who through a loophole got a church on the main street right beside where old people would stop and have their tea in a new private, like a new chair park thing, and to the point where they convince someone they don't need to go to the hospital to get help for their cancer, but do make sure you leave all your money to me in your will. And he used to run a church in a barn outside of the town and had God actually speak to him, and then he had disagreements with the wife. She didn't want him to do it, and then she was also directly spoken to by God. This is their story is all on their website. It's they were taking kids out of school and teaching them that evolution is not true and not go to school, just learn. That's I can see it in Phoebe's face. I feel the same, Phoebe. I got very angry. They actually went out on the street one day and were handing out leaflets. Come to Friday night movie night with Banana Man. What do you call Banana Man? Oh, do you know
Ray
that?
Comfort.
Pardon?
Ray Comfort.
Ray Comfort's video.
The guy who, the banana
Right?
guy. Yeah.
The banana.
Okay.
Do you remember the fucking video? It's on YouTube. This is available on YouTube. Suicide the Way Out, I think it's called, or Suicide something. And it's totally picking on people with manic depressive. And it's don't go to the doctor and get help. Come to the church. God will save you. And it's literally called something like Suicide the Way Out or whatever the fuck. He handed me one of these leaflets and I went and then on my lunch break watched it. Could not speak to anybody at work for about 3 hours afterwards. I was like a burr. They actually, I think, they used video footage of a girl discussing suicide. Her parents committed suicide, or one of her mother committed suicide, and she was discussing this on YouTube. And they flat out stole that footage and used it in the video. It's
disgusting.
You've seen it, Red.
I've
You
seen
know
that
you
video,
know the one I'm talking
and-
about, yeah?
Yeah, that's infuriating. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that video because we were shown it when I did my social worker training about this is the kind of stuff you need to be careful of. If you find clients are watching things like this, these are red flags, and that was one of the videos.
Yeah. No, it's...
I've heard about this video. Now that you're talking about it, I remember reference to it, and I
Don't go
was
watch
literally
it.
told to me, "Don't go watch it." Yeah. That's somebody was like, "Don't go watch it for your mental
If you've
health."
got
Like,
3 hours of boxing after, go and watch it, because you'll win every boxing match. But
If you're going banger racing afterwards, fine.
no, you got goosebumps from talking about hearing God. I'm getting fucking angry just from thinking about watching that video. It literally is, John. It's people like Ray Comfort and things like that. And another question I did want to ask you. I don't know if you will actually have an answer to this after hearing you from the interview, but do you have a favorite apologist? I know you'll probably have a favorite philosopher that we could agree with on, but do you have a favorite apologist? And don't say Spartan, he's not allowed.
Certainly William Lane Craig.
Oh, fuck
William
off.
Lane Craig, yeah. Favorite in what sense?
Whatever
Favorite in the
sense
sense that
you-
I like to watch them get
You know
their
that?
ass handed to them, or favorite in the sense that like I like what I like what they have to say.
Well,
Mr. Batman.
Whatever you want, man. You can say both if you have one for each one. If you have one that you like to watch and laugh at, we'll all agree with you. If you have one that you appreciate their arguments, I would appreciate hearing that.
So I'm not, as I was kind of talking about early on, I have very limited study of a lot of that kind of world, because that's not where I came up in. That's not the stuff that I was learning academically. It just wasn't even involved in that at all. So much of what I've kind of learned about the sort of apologist stuff has been more online. I just don't have one.
Good. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's what I was expecting after the interview.
I don't have a lot of... I need to be careful here. I don't have a lot of respect for a lot of Christian apologetics. I think it's actually counterproductive and quite damaging. So I'm just not that interested in that world.
Got that. Yeah. That's why
So that's what I would say.
Yeah. No, I was getting that from the interview, which is good.
Yeah.
Again, there's a few things that the Christian idea. I didn't come into this thinking that you were Jill or anyone like that, but I did have some perceived thoughts, so to speak, and everything from tonight that I've got from you, as Phoebe has put it, you're not alone.
Right.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I learned the stuff that I learned
he
about
did a good job of hiding it. But...
yeah, I am crazy in very different ways. But the stuff that I learned academically was like the stuff that pretty much like consensus scholarship agrees on, whether you're a Christian or not. Like with historical critical methods of
Facts don't
interpreting the
give a
Bible and
fuck.
like
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff is just what I learned. So
Facts don't care about your opinions.
right.
That's what I love about facts. They don't give a shit. I would like to get yourself and if the what's your wife's name, John?
Laura.
Robinson. If you and Laura, because you're both very well educated, I've seen that on the thing. She specializes in New Testament studies, is it? Or...
Yeah, she's a New Testament scholar. She is finishing her her PhD in New Testament at Duke, so through the religious studies department.
Yeah,
and so that's why we're moving. She got a job. So we're
considering our conversation that we had and are referencing to the Bible about it being a story, or about it being a collection of stories used to portray. Yeah, I would be interesting to have a conversation with yourself and your wife on that topic, particularly if she would be up for it sometime. I think that would be
yeah. Probably in the fall. We've got a lot going on. She's trying to finish up her dissertation and submit that, get a defense state, defend that.
Just tell her how wonderful I am, how accepting I am, how brilliant I will. Went, you know,
I will relay all of that. Yeah.
Don't fuck up.
He's the worst. We're not gonna do it.
She thinks she's fucking immune because she's her first night here.
Hey, I'm at the top now. I'm on the top row now.
Now I gotta go like this.
Look down like that. Hello.
But you see, that doesn't actually matter, because if we do that, then there you go. She doesn't. There you go. Now, Phoebe and Red and John are on the top.
Oh gosh, I'm in like the middle.
Does production. But yeah, no, that would be an interesting conversation, John, because I do agree with you about the scholarship. Facts don't give two fucks about your opinion, and you're referencing back to the Bible and how it was, and the noticing of the apocalyptic type of writing, the prophetic type of writing, you know.
Right.
What is your thoughts on the prophecy of Tar?
Oh man.
Yeah, rhetorical question, but
yeah.
I thoroughly appreciate your approach. You're actually nicer than Spartan on your approach here. We'll not tell Spartan. She's got a baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm just a better person than him. But,
no, stop with the baby. Stop with the baby.
His kids are so cute. Hi, buddy.
Have you been vomited on yet, Spartan? Have you been vomited on yet?
Not so much vomited on, peed on plenty of times, and
do you know, I have
peed on, pooped on, but
I
not
have
so much
not been
vomit.
peed on, and I have
By your kids? Weird.
not been peed on, not been vomited
They
on
would
by
not
Elena
be vomited on yet.
ever. No, in 4 years, Elena has never vomited on me, and
You have a girl though. That's a big difference.
well, in saying that now, I have been only peed on once, like a couple of months ago, because we're out going for a walk and there's no toilets, and I'm literally just holding her up. There you are. I'm holding you as the toilet, just go, and she peed in my shoe. But I've never been peed on or vomited on as her as a baby. I skipped it. She was great. Throwing her up in the air and everything. I was so...
And I've taken the diaper off
This is
and
so
like
lucky.
straight to
Red,
the
she
chest.
was the best baby. Even whenever she would wake up in the middle of the night, we could get her up, we would get her fed, and she would be back to sleep again within 45 minutes to an hour. She was like, she is amazing. I love my daughter.
Well, I don't want to hear it because you didn't have two at once, so I don't want to
No,
hear
I
it.
didn't have two.
I mean,
okay.
if your kid's gonna vomit, it should definitely be on that shirt that you're wearing, Spartan, which I think is an Astro shirt. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, bunch of cheaters.
Trash throws or whatever.
No, if that was the norm for kids, MathPig, that I would have some, but I
Pardon?
don't. If that was the norm for kids, like if they just like wake up and cry, it's like 45 minutes, they're back to sleep, like they don't puke on. No, like I would have kids. I don't have kids.
Just I don't know. Elena's been I've been very, very lucky with Elena. I don't know if it's my approach or the co-parenting or a mum. We've been very, very lucky. We've been very lucky. She's very mature. She does what she's told. She gave a flower away to a wee lad in his fucking garden the other day that she had taken for her mother on the way home from a walk. And when I asked her why she did it, she was like, "'Cause it made him happy, Daddy." And it just like, I don't give a fuck. I cried. For like 100 yards. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
That's the sweetest thing.
What I can say to that is that if Northern Ireland distilled the love of your daughter, it would have no problems ever again.
No. The love for my daughter could cure no, it can't cure the... No.
I mean, look at Edwin Poots going down the toilet today.
I know they're gonna fucking vote no confidence in the fucking new DUP guy. In all honesty, get him the fuck out. Our new leader... sorry, I was gonna say the new leader of the country. The DUP is the first minister over here, John. Now, he's not going to be first minister because he was brought in as the new leader, so his first minister pick is... Oh, no, I'm not even going down that route. But the leader of the biggest party in Northern Ireland is a young earth creationist against LGBTQ who thinks the earth is 6,000 years old.
No, he's a young flat earth creationist.
Okay, this sounds
even
vaguely
worse.
familiar.
Even worse.
Yeah, and he was the good vote. He was the good vote.
There was a guy that was even more extreme than that man.
Yeah,
that came second by 2 votes.
and I think
so if
Edwin-
one person had swapped, it would have been tie.
Edwin is actually up for the Irish Language Act, which is a big thing over here. I know it's a whole fucking fake and he's really not, but it's...
Because he got Ulster Scots included in it as well.
I know, but also, I'm an Ulster Scot, and I will tell you that we don't have a language, we have slang and a dialect. That's all we have, right?
When I
there
went
is
to
no
Glasgow
point in fucking... Like, in all honesty, right? It's very, very simple. I grew up in the fucking divide over here. I'll tell you, it's really, really simple. They want an Irish Language Act where it's mandatory for kids over here to learn that in school and to give them the option, right? Fucking kids don't want to fucking learn languages, French, Spanish, or any of that bullshit. I have an interest in maybe learning Latin because it would be more an education thing than a language you can use. But the point I'm making is Irish Language Act, 3 to 4 o'clock, optional. Anybody wants to go, they can go for it. The students will tell you after a year or two whether it's worthwhile continuing or not. Make it optional so that the Protestants and whose parents are fucking bigoted assholes don't have to be forced to go there. And it's as simple as that. Don't make it, if you teach Irish Language Act, you have to teach Ulster Scots, because Ulster Scots is just slang. It's the way I sound. Nobody wants to talk like me, alright?
I am as bad as English as you can get, and I went to Glasgow Exhibition Centre train station, and that is a bilingual station in English and Ulster Scots, and I can understand all of the Ulster Scots because it is just English slang.
It's just slang. No, it is.
It really is.
We would call it a dialect. There is certain words and things like that, and I've noticed with Spooky, there was a few different words that I would spell when we were talking text. Hi, Jim's mustache. There was a few things that I would say in text.
Oh,
hi,
hey.
Jim, too. When he winding up. There was a few things that we would say that are different, but it's literally just a dialect, a different way of speaking, a local 6 counties fucking thing. There's no point in making it equal with an Irish Language Act. I also do agree with the Irish Language Act, and as a Protestant that grew up in a red, white and blue paint the fucking curbs area, keep the language alive. The Gaelic language is quite beautiful in certain... Siobhan is a stupid word. Sorry for all the Siobhans out there.
But it's a beautiful name.
Have
How
you
are you
seen...
spelling it? With a CH or an SH?
It's spelled Siobhan. It's spelled...
S-I.
It's spelled S-I-B-H-A-N, and it's called Siobhan. It's fucking stupid,
Yeah.
alright? It's fucking stupid.
I thought there was an E at the end, too.
Jim, we can't hear
S-I-B-I.
you. Jim, we can't hear you.
Hi, I apologize for looking like ass. I was doing yard work.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Funny story. Funny story.
You don't look like
Jim,
arse, mate. You
Jim-
really don't
Yeah.
look like arse, mate.
You
really
look great,
don't.
Jim. Don't worry about that.
Nah, you
I
really
do
don't.
that. Like I'm flushing. It's so hot here.
funny story.
I'm hot here now.
Jim's ancestors actually left. Nobody gives
No,
a
no,
fuck.
it's really hot. Like, literally.
Yeah, the ladies are getting the vapors.
So,
yeah.
Jim's internet broke. Jim, I think I'm gonna have to put you on top.
You already know that's where I go.
Funny story.
Definitely fine with that.
Jim's ancestors actually left Scotland in and around the same sort of decade that my ancestors left Scotland, and their surname and my ancestors' surname are the same, are Tartan matches. So me and Jim may be, I think, 7 generations separated, but we are related to a certain point.
Yeah. And I
Isn't
can
that
actually
true
trace
for every
mine
human
all the way
on
back
planet,
to Utratus Filius Scotti, the first Scot.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Scot as well,
Wow.
an actual true Scot with 2 T's.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Through Balweary, right?
I'm not too sure. It's late. I'm stoned. I'll ask my granny. Swear to fuck, she can even tell me the address that her like auntie moved to in fucking London somewhere from like 19 God knows fucking when. Like,
My Nana is like that, but 30 to 40% of the time she's completely wrong. And so like there'll be things where it's like somebody wrote like an autobiography and like asked her a few things, and they have like my parents getting married like after my older brother is born, and it's like, no, like he wasn't born out of wedlock. You just like asked my Nana the dates, and she was like, oh, it was definitely this date. And like
once you get my granny actually on her 80th birthday, and it told everybody in the family, and we got all the cousins round to my mum's house and all, and she was like, look, I'm 80 now. I spent 80 years being nice. You may all just get used to it. I'm going to start speaking my mind. And she has stuck. Damn, yeah. Yeah, we fell out for like 6 months because she told me how to raise my daughter. I was like, go fuck yourself. What the fuck
my
are you?
Nana did that to everyone too. The funny thing is she's mean to all the women in the family already. So like me and my mom and my auntie were all just like standing back like, what is she going to say to us? She's already said all of the inside things on the outside to us.
I'm
So
really sorry for John. I'm looking at John, and John's like, "You're all just rambling. I'm trying to be smart here." Have you met Jim,
Oh,
John?
sorry.
Have you met Jim? Have you met
Oh,
Jim?
yeah,
Jim is also very well educated and studied in
I
that
know
sort of
Jim.
background.
He's
Jim,
a-
Yeah. Hey,
alright.
what's up, John?
He's alright.
all right, he's fucking
Good to
noisy.
see you, man.
Oh, he's fucking awesome. Hi, Jim. How have
Yeah.
you been?
Good, man. Good.
Jim,
man.
I have
Doing
to
really
say,
well. How about you?
I felt like giving you a big giant hug today on JB's. I had to leave after maybe 40 minutes. The audio was just killing me.
Oh, yeah.
It-
It was fun though. I enjoyed it.
It was good conversation, but there was like a
was a
whining
good
every
stream.
time he didn't fucking mute and stuff. He needs to sort his audio.
Yeah, it
out.
sounded like he was like streaming from a 1995 Macintosh Potato or something.
We fucking dial up and all going in the background. It was fucking
Right. It's like move
no,
the
I
needle.
Help out.
But yeah, no, good conversation. It's good to have you back again. I know you took a wee while. How is your health?
The roof is there, walls are there, so I think
No, not
those are
your
both good
house.
signs.
Your health. Your health.
Oh, my health. I thought you
Your
said my health.
constitution.
Yeah, you know, you know the whole thing with
Um,
having a heart attack and all that sort of shit. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last I checked, like the hole's completely closed up in my muscular wall, so no more problems with that.
You're
so
a stallion
just-
again. Tell Phoebe you're a stallion again. She really wants to hear you say that.
Yeah, now it's just hot.
Oh,
I don't know what's funny, but I feel like I should be laughing too.
I don't know. I just feel sorry for John. I really do. He's been dumped in the deep end with all those mad crazies. The after party was supposed to have a load of smart people
Don't-
on asking him questions, and we ended up with Phoebe and Red going, "Damn, Jim's hot."
Don't throw me in with you lot.
the funny thing is like for like the past like 3 minutes I've been like I gotta like go get a drink, but it's gonna like sound like if I tell you that I need to go get a drink right now.
All I can say is that he is just a thirst trap, and I am so thirsty right now. It is.
Like literally.
Yeah, I need a drink too.
Jim, I hope
Like-
you've had a really bad day and this is perking you up. You should bottle this shit. This is.
I
Me
assure
and
you,
John,
I am
me
the...
and John are attractive as well. Okay, I'm just. We're gonna do.
Yeah, come on.
If I can just say, John's
Hey,
beard.
I got a
alright?
baby over here. Give me some.
John's beard is way better than Jim's mustache. All right, I'm saying it now.
That is an impressive
I've been doing
beard.
yard
I
work,
will-
man. I'm
Impressive
doing
beard, I'll
great.
grant you that.
Oh.
Do I gotta twirl it, man?
I can get mine up too.
Okay, I really do.
I'll polish my hair.
Okay.
Polish my hair to get attention. I feel so left out and unloved on my own fucking channel. I love you, Spartan. Do you like me? Come here. You have a baby. Ah, fuck. I'm on my own. I'm all alone. Question from the chat earlier at the very start of the stream, John. Your whiteboard behind you, is that a plan to take over the world?
Ooh. I think
What?
you're breaking up a bit.
Is that a plan to take
Sounds
over
like
the
a
world
robot.
on your whiteboard behind you?
Not on
Oh,
your
here?
internet connection.
I'm back.
This? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, you can hear me now. My connection's all right.
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I've got
Uh,
a compressor on the fucking mic. If I talk over here, you can't fucking hear me. I have to be
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
into the mic.
No,
No,
this is my book that's coming out later this year.
Ooh.
We've got the chapters up on the wall. And
It's a pop-up.
I'm also a
Does it
writer,
have pictures?
so
What's that?
Does it have
I'm
pictures?
also a writer, so I'm.
Does it have
like,
pictures? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it doesn't have pictures for you. I can maybe add. It'll have some diagrams. Is that enough?
What is
like
the
little
topic? What is the
boxes?
title? And can you give us a synopsis? Or we hint?
Uh, sure. It's kind of relevant to what we're talking about. I'm writing a book on the Apostle Paul, that's being published through Whiffenstock, and it's giving a different kind of reading of Paul and justification than the kind of dominant approach that is pretty terrible. And yeah, it's saying that God actually likes people and doesn't want to damn them, and that is that kind of
Okay.
Now
justification.
that's a
and-
question I
and-
wanted to ask, right?
And
That was one of my questions. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, that's
And
one thing.
I'm kind of joking, but like it's giving a rereading of the justification material in Paul.
Red does
um,
have two questions
yeah.
in the private chat. She did send in the live
Yeah.
chat earlier that I completely missed because they're hidden behind the way we do this thing. Can
That's
you
okay.
see them, John, or can anyone? Red, can you see them, and would you
I-
like to? Yeah.
I could just ask them
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
and,
ask them again.
and Spartan, you could also answer too. Going along with what you were saying about like, does God like people? Like, and again, I don't mean this as any offense to either of you guys, any religious viewers or anything like that.
Not an asshole,
um,
just sounds like one.
But in reference to praying, I feel like, for instance, my dad is a Christian, and like the type of like relationship that he gets through prayer, I feel like it's like almost like with an abusive partner. Like the way that he tells me that it's like, well, you know, like he maybe gets an answer sometimes that's like maybe kind of vague. And like, but if he doesn't interpret it correctly, then like he's gonna get punished. Like, it just sounds like. And again, like, please forgive me if I'm like, my atheist mindset is just like, I have been removed from the Christian church for long enough to where I can't even remember how I would myself would justify that. But yeah, prayer. Does God really like us? And what is?
Yeah.
How do you justify
I-
that
I-
type of
I-
relationship if you can't?
Yeah, I mean, I confess that, and my reasoning for that is coming from certain theologians that emphasize sort of Jesus Christ as being the one through whom God is most fully known, and that what we see there is a God who is unconditionally and irrevocably committed to creation, and so much so that Christ would die for, as Paul would say it, the ungodly, right? Which is essentially emphasizing the unconditionality of that love for people that somebody shouldn't die for, right? That is where we get the sort of love that God really is. And was someone going to say something? I heard.
No, it was my thing
No.
going bang, ignored. I'm editing.
Oh
yeah.
no. And from that kind of center point where we have a God who is unconditionally committed to us, and I think in other places in Paul, and I'm coming at this from a kind of Pauline slant because that's what I do. It's a sort of love that exceeds our capacity to even sort of understand it fully. That Paul will use sort of like,
Agape.
yeah, he'll use agape. He'll use sort of like even length and width and height imagery. It's beyond all of these sorts of things that we have going on in the way that we measure things. It's sort of beyond that. And I think if we begin there with what God is really like, if that's our starting point, then yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say that I think that shortly after finding that starting point, I think it's really important to, before you get too in depth, is to ask the question, like, if we're being provided this, not just this love, but we're being shown a mercy or mercies that we either don't deserve or that we can't ever earn. But my question would be, like, what does God get from us? Like what does God receive? Like, what, like, is it the worship? And if so, is it something that he needs or wants?
No. So the worship point is interesting because I think there are some theologians, the Torrances come to mind, Scottish theologians, who talk about the worship as being a communion of, I mean, this gets back to sort of the communion of love that I think God is, that we're sort of caught up in through our worship. So it's actually this sort of loving relationship among the persons of the Trinity that we're enjoined to be a part of through the Spirit. That's what we're doing when we're worshiping. We're not like making God feel good or like stroking God's ego or something. So it is very sort of patristic in the like you said, where we're drawn into this communion when we in a particular way when we're worshiping together. So that's kind of how I would describe that. Yeah.
That role that we feel, is it a necessary role, or is it a role that will leave a void of some sort that can't be filled without us?
No, I think it's just it's the way that and you were talking about mercy. I would add sort of grace to that too, that there is something gracious that's going on, that we're being drawn into, that we're not adding anything to that process. God is joyfully allowing us and bringing us into it. It's like bringing somebody you really love into a party with you. It's not that you think that they're that there's something necessarily missing, but that out of your love and generosity and care and good pleasure, you're drawing them in, right? I guess
a better way to phrase it would be, if we weren't there to participate in that role or in that aspect, would God be wanting in any way, or would the triune nature of God be wanting in any way?
I don't know how to answer that hypothetically, really, because I think it just is the case for me.
Right. Basically, it all boils down to, like, purpose of creation, like why.
Oh, like, yeah. So the purpose of creation is, like I was saying, for God to lovingly draw all people in all of the cosmos into fellowship with God. That's the purposes of creation. It's fundamentally positive. It's fundamentally for the purposes of fellowship and being a part of a loving family. Paul, you would disagree with me probably on Ephesians 1.
Possibly.
I think Paul is talking about being drawn into a loving family and a loving fellowship. And I think that's the purposes of creation. And it's tightly attached to an account of election too. And I don't mean double predestinarian election. I mean God choosing to create a people to enjoy one another and to enjoy being in God's presence.
Right.
If I can jump in that sort of, if I can just poke in a wee bit there and just fucking other people are involved. Going back to earlier with the, I've totally lost it now because I made a cunt out of myself. The whole idea of, what is the point of this life, John, with the immortality? This short period of time is only 80, 90 years. Why did he do that? If he has all powerful, what was the point of this 80 years? Like, you're going to live forever. 80 years is nothing. What was the point of this? I'm not going to go down the route of, trying to justify, what is the name for that, where you have to do good deeds to get in and all that sort of stuff, whatever that fucking philosophical term is. But, what is the point to this life? Why create this life?
If I can just pin something on into that real quick, like, you're talking about God created us so he could bring us in, and so we could participate and be in that relationship with him. But is it something that that there is an alternative to, or or is it like something like we are pre-existing and he wants to bring us from our pre-existent nature into this this position to where we can participate, or in other words, is there a non-option?
I asked you a similar question earlier today.
So are you asking if there was another possibility involved? Is there another?
Well, rather, is it better for us to exist and suffer a little bit in order to have the opportunity, or to have the possibility, the opportunity to participate in that relationship, or is it better to just have never experienced any of that?
I see what you mean. This gets to a question about ontology, because I think that everybody, regardless of if they're Siri is apparently thinking I'm talking to her. Sorry. I think that everybody is already, whether or not people are realizing it or responding to it, already caught up in the life of God. So we have texts that are talking about
say I'm caught
Christ
up in the culture of God, but I wouldn't be caught up in the life of God. Making a reference.
Why not? I mean, the way that where I'm coming from is saying that all things in Christ live and move and have their being. So there is a sense in which everything is already,
from an internal point of view, from your point of view, accepting that God is everywhere and God does everything. Then yes, I'm already part of that. But then to reverse it and look at, ask you to see it from my point of view, that
I do see it,
right?
Yeah,
Well, and not even mine, but like my great grandson, my hypothetical great grandson, is he already participating, or is it necessary for him to participate?
Is there a cosmic waiting room?
It does
So
predetermination versus free will here.
I like that.
Yeah, there are lots of
going in and coming out.
Lots of different things going
on. Right, hold on. We're going to take it back. Right. I think he's answered sort of to a point me and Jim's with an addition. We'll go with Red first.
So let me kind of restate where I'm coming from. Everything in the cosmos.
It's the Lion's Den.
Yeah, everything in the cosmos is already within the very being of God. Whether or not we're acknowledging it, that's just the case.
Right. Could I ask you to go a wee bit deeper and define what you mean, and explain ever so slightly what you mean by everything in the universe is already in the being of God? That's a very vague statement.
I'll give it that though.
Yeah, go
that sounds. It's a very deistic statement, but
it's actually not, because it's through the person of Jesus. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying that in Christ all things live and move and have their being. That's a statement about ontology. That's about what the stuff that we're made of.
And I can understand that as an atheist. So our understanding of the universe and what we can see of the universe grows every year, right? As light reaches us from further and further and further places. That doesn't mean that those stars that are blinking into existence or just now blinking into existence, they've been out there for however long. Right. We're just now becoming aware of them, and I think that's kind of what John is saying.
Right. But is it necessary for us to be aware of them? Is it necessary for us to participate? Well, I think everybody in this way, or can we just have always existed with him and never have to go through any of this?
Well, any of what?
You say that he wants us to participate in everything, and it involves things that require conscious thought and input, whereas a pre-existence or a period where we are one with God, so to speak, where we're not having to actively seek participation.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So it may be helpful for me to, because you were alluding to suffering earlier, Jim. I think you mentioned that in terms of the way. I mean,
sure. Yeah.
We do suffer. Yeah.
Welcome to the aggressive channel now.
Yeah, within my approach to things, we have our kind of ontology in Christ within the being of God. But of course, from the Christian point of view, there is something that has kind of fractured that. and that's when a conversation about sort of evil and death and sin and all of that stuff would come in, which I would answer much differently than a lot of people to do with that. It's just the result of a bad choice, and then
Right.
evil happens, and then everything gets fucked up, and we're all screwed, right? Like that's kind of a generic way that people talk about it. But there is something that has, and we could talk about this a little bit too. There is something that has kind of
We're
knocked
here as long
this
as you're good,
initial.
John. We're here as long.
Yeah,
as you're
there's something that has knocked this initial plan. Plan is kind of a weird word for that, but God's desire to create a people to be in fellowship with God. There is something that has fractured that.
Right. Like why the desire? Like why is it his desire, not ours?
And how could in all in all being all-knowing, omniscient, omnipotent God, like how is it that he didn't factor in for this?
Just to ask, does John believe in an omnipresent, omniscient, all the omni sort of God? Before we go
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would take. I mean, we'd have to go through each one, and like, I'm not a traditional sort of classical theist.
Okay.
I have a very nuanced view of each of those sort of.
Okay.
I'm just sticking up for John.
I respect that. I respect that
Basic
answer.
enough.
The fucking
Yeah.
omnis. Who fucking omnis? Fucking. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like the
which
begats.
one?
Let's not talk about the begats, alright?
No, but seriously though, like it's nuanced as an answer. I respect that answer. Like I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and
so-
when you say
just-
in Christ, is this a,
Let John
unique
retire if you can. There,
position
John was going to say something, Jim. Just let John.
No.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jim. Seriously, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
When you say in Christ, is it a unique opportunity that only those who are who are aware of Christ and the sacrifice and can
Good question.
live on this side, not have to be in Sheol or whatever. Is that or is this something that's available to everybody?
Well, I think it is already determinative of everybody, whether or not they're aware of it, is what I would say. And I think that you have the ontological significance of Christ in something like Romans 5:12-21, where you get Adam and Christ kind of that kind of it's both a parallel and also Christ is more kind of
Right.
is
like a
better
universe,
and more
like,
yeah. And in
I got
fact,
you.
in that text, it is very universalistic. There is something more determinative about Christ than there is about Adam in that text.
Got you. So
that's where I'm coming from with that, the ontological kind of basis in Christ. So everyone's involved with that, whether or not they respond to it now. I think
Right.
whatever that might look like for people in the future, I think responding to that, I think will happen because I'm a universalist. I just don't know exactly what that's going to look like because I don't think we have really access to that. But I think it will happen. We do have, at end of Romans 11, you have Paul praying that prayer of mercy, right?
Right.
Where the deliverer will arrive, and people in that case it's with unbelieving Israel, but everyone's going to get kind of pulled back through into that. So I can't give like specific
Right, sure.
details about that. I'm not there. I wish I was, but
Whatever it looks like, you can
Respect
guarantee it's
again to
gonna
John.
have
I think
some-
John said,
some-
I don't know about 5 times tonight. That's another thing that I have to say. I appreciate someone coming up and saying, I don't
Oh yeah,
know.
I'm perfectly happy to say I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's honesty.
Yeah.
It's, but whatever it is, you can guarantee it's going to have some kick-ass apocalyptic literature.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. So that's kind of where I would go with that, is that there is a
Cool.
kind of ontological determination by Christ that we're all a part of. And
I like that. That's
Yeah.
kind of, it's almost almost a universalist view in that we were always destined to be pardoned.
Yeah. And of course, like getting into the issues of evil and all of that and suffering,
Sure.
those are important discussions to have, and I take them incredibly seriously because I think that's where I struggle too.
Yeah,
Still,
obviously, yeah.
like I don't have a solution to that, and I think if people do have if they have what they think are clear answers to that, they're probably fucking wrong. Like it's just.
Well,
If I can,
I'm
Red,
okay with
Red
suffering,
wants
but I'm
to
not
ask
okay with is like when I bang my pinky toe on the coffee table leg. Like, is this really freaking necessary? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. No, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
it's like, yeah, hurricanes, fine. You know, babies dying of starvation, that's
Stubbing
fine. But
my
I don't want to
toe,
stub my
yeah.
pinky toe.
Yeah. Right.
So
Red,
is the pardon universal?
Red, shush, Phoebe, shush. Red,
I don't know. Are you a universalist?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know,
Okay.
this happens through for me because of the ontology that I gave about Jesus. I think,
Right.
and that's to do with creation. I think it's a mistake to limit that to a specific select group of people, or just people who are sort of having faith or something like that. I think that actually that way of going about things for me as a Christian flirts too much with a kind of Marcionism, to be honest, where you have a different kind of God showing up later on that's saving a select few. And that looks a bit different than the purposes of creation and election from before the foundation of the world.
Yeah.
If we're being consistent with that, I think we need to say that everyone ultimately is being drawn back in the way that God has purposed it. Yeah. I think it's the only consistent Christian position. I say boldly.
Well, I mean,
I do think it's the only.
ECT is a position that you wouldn't be able to hold. I mean, and you know, talk with a straight face. You know, it's incoherent with that concept of that relationship that you have.
Yeah, and I think annihilationism falls into the same sorts of problems where God is just wiping out certain people. It is a bit better in certain ways, and it aligns, I think, better with the text that we get in the New Testament about certain sorts of punishment for the wicked, right? But I think ECT has a huge problem. I think it's got a big problem. Yeah.
But I think that the idea of a universal not a reckoning, but a universal comeback, like for everybody. You know, I think that I still think that annihilationism, you still run into difficulties. You know, it's like, well, if you know, we were always going to be annihilated, you know, then what was the purpose of always being pardoned? You know, how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, right. And I just to kind of tack on something on the end, because some people get worried about, like, within Christian circles, get worried about, like, judgment. What do you do with judgment if you think that everyone is, you know, ultimately coming back in?
You get a good lawyer.
Get a good lawyer. I think there is I mean, 1 Corinthians 3 with Paul, you have a very clear account of judgment there, where you have some people kind of making it through, other people going through a fire. But what happens to them?
Purify.
Yeah, they get saved. Yeah. They go through the fire, and yet they get saved. So there is.
Well, it's like the crucible, right? Like the burning bush. You know, he says that he will bring all of his people back together, and that they will be. It's kind of annihilationist in a way, in that those who aren't worthy, that are in his presence, would be burnt away, but the ones who are worthy, that would just, their impurities would be burned away, and they'd be made pure.
Yeah. And so my approach, I think, the universalist approach that I adopt, can make sense of a lot of the annihilationist data that we have in the New Testament, because that would be referring to, at least sort of synthetically, I'm not saying historically critically, but sort of synthetically and theologically, that could be positioned as the sort of judgment of the old fleshly self, where stuff is sort of cut off, burned away, all of that sort of stuff, and then we're brought through into a new creation, a new reality together. And so
Are you a dualist?
What's that?
Are you a mind-body dualist?
No.
Okay. Because I was going to say that'd really be the only way that you could hold to that annihilationist views, because is if something made it through.
Well, I'm talking about the way that Paul talks about the the old person.
Oh yeah, the what
fixed
is old is made new.
is made new. So there is a
Yeah.
continuity there. There's not something that just sort of fundamentally dies and then something new out of a spark or something. There's a new like anonymous human being that comes out of you, right?
What if the
I don't
fish
think
eats us and I eat the fish?
right. But I do think that there's stuff that we're involved with as people that we harm people. We hurt other people all the time, and that stuff doesn't make it through into the life of God. I don't think. I think that stuff is burned away.
Can I ask,
Go on
just
ahead.
to catch myself up a bit, and forgive me if you've already answered, just give me a brief rundown if you like. But as a universalist, then where do you stand on the historicity of the Bible?
How do you mean? History of the Bible?
Do you hold to so how much of it do you take literally, for example?
Are you talking about like the reliability in that aspect of universalism?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, this may clarify things. I'm not an inerrantist, and I'm not. What is it called? Fucking verbal plenary inspiration type.
What
A
the
plenary, yeah.
right?
fuck?
You're not a
Who do
Southern
you think you are?
Baptist.
Darth Dawkins with your word salad? Sure.
I get
Yeah,
the
so
Holy Ghost, but I ain't
I-
clapping.
What I will say is, like, let's give the Gospels as an example. The Gospel authors made up some of the stuff that's in there, quite a bit of it, actually. I think that we can get into, we can find a historical Jesus through those texts, and I think there are great ways to do that through historical critical method. But no, I don't think that every single thing said in the Bible is historically accurate. I do think there is history in there.
Did
we can
Moses write the Pentateuch?
No.
Do you believe? Okay.
No.
Oh no, he's
So
been very
you-
good on the Bible. We'll give him that.
No,
So
I don't think
divine authorship, divine inspiration. You hold to any of that?
divine authorship, divine inspiration. No, I don't.
More like a general
No.
revelation.
No, I don't think so. I hold the Bible. We were MathPig and I were talking about this.
Yeah,
I
watch the
have
stream,
more-
Jim. Watch the stream. Come on, stop doing your
Yeah,
bloody
no, it's
yard.
fine. It's fine.
Going
I'm
out and
fine
getting
with
sweaty,
I'm fine
doing
with
your
talking-
yard work, and coming on here
No,
with
no,
a
no.
fucking muscle top. Yeah, we
I know. I'm sorry.
No, no.
I'll turn it off.
I'm fine with talking about it again because it's different.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
Yeah, it's a bit different than the sort of the stuff that a lot of people hear about the Bible.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I-
if I'm asking too many questions, I mean, I'm really like you're in the hot seat.
Dude, Jim, you were totally fine. Don't worry about it.
Jim, I'm only winding you up. I'm only winding you up, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
does,
like-
Does this help?
that's better. Yeah, it looks like you're about to chop down some trees. Actually,
You should put on a green.
Oh, no, wait,
do you know what you
sorry,
should?
wrong one.
Do you know what you should do, Jim? Sometime, right? You should actually
actually
put
this
on
one.
a green shirt and pull a Dave and just make yourself a floating mustache.
Well,
Oh,
Yes.
Now, you could put on a green shirt and paint a wee bit of green face,
That would
you
be
know, and you would
amazing.
just be your eyes, your nose, and a mustache.
Yeah.
You know what this is behind me, right, John?
Send me your Amazon wish list and I'll like get you.
I can
Yeah,
barely see
yeah,
it.
yeah. I'll jump in on that too. Yeah.
You're in the face mask. You're
Ju-
just
ju-
a
ju-
mustache.
I've
can
got a
barely
wish.
see it,
Just
yeah.
I've
It's,
got a wish list. Links in the description as well.
It's
as soon
the
as
Valley
we're
of
on the
Ben
main
Hinnom,
channel.
Gehenna.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the Valley of Hinnom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
very nice.
I put this on there when I'm in Christians' channels. They tell me that I'm going to hell, and I'm like, well, I'm there.
Head to that garbage dump. That's right, yeah. Yeah. I just quickly summarizing kind of how I see the Bible.
Yeah, we've been
I-
going for 75 minutes. We've had John for
know.
longer than 2 hours. So, John, if you need to
Yeah.
go at any stage, you know-
I'll give.
MathPig needs to wax his dome.
Yeah, give
Hey,
me like.
excuse me. I need to shave my head. I'm not waxing me dome. All right.
Give me like
This
10
pigsty
minutes.
tonight smells very nice. It smells of lavender and hyacinth.
And just on the mentioning of lavender, if we can, just as a group, shout out to the lavender lady and send our love out to Deanna, who is going through
Oh my
some
gosh,
stuff at the minute.
yes.
So if
Yep,
we can,
all of it.
just send out to Diana. I don't know if she's even watching. She's probably not because she's got so much going on. But
Is she
thanks to
home?
Purple for looking after the cats. So many love for Diana and as a group, as a whole, as a community. As I said earlier, very accepting woman, absolutely fantastic. Love the bones of you, Diana.
Yep.
and just a generally beautiful human being. So positive, so supportive.
Just a beautiful heart.
She's, just great.
Yeah.
Love you, Purple.
Yes. Yes, all our love to Diana.
So yes,
I got a bit young.
but that's my fault. But that's your fault. You said lavender, right?
Purple, lavender. Sorry, love you, lavender.
I know
love
we
you
were.
too,
I
Lavender
was
Purple.
totally gonna kick you there.
I love
and
If
I
you're
was like,
not
no.
following her, why are you not following her? Get over there.
Why are you in
Purple's
here?
just
if you're not
lavender with no
following
smell.
Exactly.
No.
No.
Yeah. So John, you wanted 10 minutes. John, the floor is yours.
Just to answer.
Poor guy, I'm
Jim
sorry.
on the-
Yeah, it
no,
takes
you're
10
totally fine.
It takes
And
10 minutes to answer
I
Jim.
can take like I'll take like one more after that, but just to
No, I'm
kind of-
not.
Oh
I'm done.
no, man, John. In all honesty, I really appreciate you stepping into the
No,
lion's
this
den.
has been a joy. This has been wonderful. I mean, my wife is out of town, so like, what the hell else am I gonna do?
Oh,
besides
seriously?
chat
Oh,
with
that's
people
why
and
you're
stuff?
here.
Face.
That's
Yeah,
why you're
yeah.
here. He blew me
Yeah.
off
Just
last
did.
Thursday, so obviously the wife was in town last Thursday. So he said we'll make it for this Thursday. So that was like, oh, she's in town.
That's
nothing
right.
to do.
That's
I'm
right.
surprised he's not, wandering around his house with like
know what genre
limited
places he
clothes
with.
on and stuff, going, yeah.
Oh, and
that's a nice
Phoebe, just
house."
wait till the stream ends. He's going to be sitting naked in that chair with that bass going.
Yeah, just drinking beer. It's gonna be awesome. Actually, I've got some
Sorry.
good plans
So-
after this.
The floor
Yeah.
is yours.
He's not even
Strength
wearing
below.
pants now.
And saying that, we'll give you, I offered you 10 minutes. We'll give you 20 if you do the bass thing, We'll give you 10. No, go on ahead.
No,
Go for it. Go.
I have to plug in a bunch of stuff. I don't want to do that. A lot of pressure there.
If
Now,
you're
just
worried,
on the
I'll
Bible.
start singing metal.
Phoebe! I'm,
Yeah, just on the Bible. I think about it more in terms of, as a lot of people do, it's a collection of diverse literature, very varying genres, varying times and places, and all of that. And like, as we were saying earlier, like a lot of the stuff in the Tanakh is so fucking old. Like, it's so old.
Is Job
It's
the
so
oldest book in the
ancient.
Bible? Is
Like,
Job the
it's-
oldest book?
And like, we need to appreciate that distance between
And
us.
it's so fragmentary. Like people
It's
don't realize
so fragmentary. It's so
Yeah.
It's so fractured, and like it's just a weird. It's a different world. It's a totally different world, totally different time and place.
It's a bunch of different worlds.
Yeah. That are kind of like, now that we have what we have in
They're
front
made
of us,
sense
like
of.
as people, yeah. But it's a wild text that we have, right?
I
so
love it.
We need to, yeah, I love it too, and we need to be clear about that up front. Is that this is a diverse text that we have. Now, for Christians who are using this text in terms of their preaching and in terms of their life together, the way that I like to talk about it is, as I was saying earlier, like a botanical garden, where you step into it and there's an old rusty door, and you can open up that door, and there's an environment in there, like a rainforest, right? You can walk through it. You get a sense of that environment while you're in it, right? Then you could shut that door, go into the next one, go door to door to door, all of these different doors that you go into. And from there, you can get a sense of how things are going on in that environment, but you can also take back some of that into the present through the community in the way that we're interpreting it together. And so I think communal sort of interpretation as Christians is important. We're the ones who are trying to make this applicable to today. It's not as easy as picking out propositional statements from, like the book of Daniel and trying to make it stick for today, right?
And it's because of people have different experiences, and some people don't even open the door. They're just happy.
I know, yeah.
They're just happy
Yeah,
looking at the door and reading the description tag, and
Yeah,
they think that they've
exactly.
experienced all they need to.
Exactly. So I like that idea of a garden that you can go into. You can experience the flora and fauna that's sort of in
Absolutely.
that environment and get a sense of it, the climate, the temperature, and all of that.
Yes. You can
That's
put
what I
yourself in
think of.
somebody else's environment. for a
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. And maybe a better way to talk about it is that you're sort of invited into it. Maybe it's better to understand it in that sort of way, where like it's someone else's room that you're kind of involved in. Even with somebody like Paul, right? Like we're reading somebody else's mail that's been sent to different constituencies, different communities in the ancient world. And so we're kind of overhearing a conversation that's going on. So we need to really take that to heart, I think.
Yes.
And so from there, we have the task, in terms of interpreting it for Christian communities, we're trying to discern together, what of these texts that we're tasked to preach from or tasked to sort of read together, how is this actually informing our reality together, in the life that we're living together? And that's a process of communication, discernment, all of that. So in terms of the text itself having some kind of inspiration in and of itself, no.
Like absoluteness.
No, it doesn't have an ontology. It doesn't have like this sort of basis that's sort of divinely breathed or something like that.
Like there's no like inherent core that we are supposed to find.
No.
Right.
It's much more interesting than that. That's why I think the more inerrantists, they're
individualistic.
Inerrantists tend to turn the Bible into this sort of like dead text that you can sort of pick up and be like, oh, here's this thing. Sure. I can pick that out, apply it directly to my life, and then we're good to go. That's super boring. What about this is a really ancient and lovely reality that we're enjoying to learn from together. What about that? That makes it more interesting to me.
It's great.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, but when I get into biblical studies, I used to say, like, when I started grad school, and I started to lose my faith, and people were kind of hounding me, and they were like, well, why are you staying in it, and things like that. And I was like, I can't explain it to you. Like, but I got in this to learn about God, because the God that I was being taught about in church was not the God that I was finding in the Bible. And but the more that I studied the Bible, the more that I realized that what is on the page is just the wrapper, is just the covering. There's so much more inside of the page, behind the page, that people don't even get. It's like getting a Christmas gift and looking at it and saying, "Oh, it's great, thank you."
Thanks for this cool wrapping paper. Yeah.
Personally, I find that exact reason one of the most offensive reasons or things when Christians claim to have this understanding of the Bible, that we're every day discovering we were wrong about this culture or that culture, that they actually thought this and that they did that, and the lack of understanding where their own faith comes from, how far removed from what they believe now it all stemmed from.
Well, I don't think there's any problem with somebody coming to their own conclusion. What I think I have a problem with is people coming to a conclusion and saying, this is the right one.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitively.
Claiming some authority to know.
Right. Because I mean, really, we
agree.
We can never put ourselves in their shoes. All we can do is try to figure out what their shoes look like, make our own pair, and try them out.
Yeah, exactly.
See if we can try out a close replica.
Yeah, and I think the some of the fathers were onto this with this sort of inexhaustible depth of the text that we're actually involved with, regardless of whether or not you're taking on their particular sort of hermeneutics, which I think some of them are quite helpful, some of them not so helpful, but like they got it in that way, where it's like there's so much richness and depth to these texts that we're on a journey into them. It's really, really fun. And I wish more Christians would have fun diving into these texts instead of turning them into this sort of rule book,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or some kind of like a puzzle that you have to theologize to crack,
Yeah, especially when you find contradictions in there, you got to figure out how to fit them together.
Right. It's like, how do I rationalize this? Like, it has to be perfect.
Yeah.
There, right. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I was just focusing something in the chat. And Meeps, thank you very much for your Patreon or your donation via Super Chat. Really appreciate it. And Red, thank you very much for becoming a pork scratching. Everything's pork. So.
I'm a kosher vegetarian, so.
Oh, you're a vegetarian. Oh,
I love it.
I will eat enough bacon for the both of us. Don't worry about it.
You're fine.
Then I'll find you some kosher vegetarian pork scratching alternatives.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Okay.
you need a level pig that's like
Ontangelo-
vegetarian pork.
Ontangelo
I'm
has
not anti-meat actually, but I personally I
Are you
grew
pro
up
halloumi?
in BFE and like I worked in a slaughterhouse and I was just like realized that like not it isn't even like like cows. It's like I don't really just want to like participate in that industry.
I worked at a pig.
So-
I worked at a pig slaughterhouse, and one day for a bit of, as we call it over here, a bit of crack. CRAIC, not the white powder. All
Yes,
right?
CRAIC.
Okay, I've also seen it spelled with a Q at the end, I think.
Well, they're fucking wrong and they're not Irish. Tell them to go fuck themselves.
Okay.
It's CRAIC. Alright?
Got it.
Those are the
See at the end.
gays.
Yeah.
No.
One of the guys actually down in the cutting line, my mother was actually, pork granny, I'll tell you this story. My mother was running the canteen at the time, and the guy went to pay for his food, and my mum put her hand out, and he put 2 pigs' testicles in her hand instead of change, and then
Oh my
chased her
God.
around the fucking canteen with them, and it was absolutely fucking hilarious. It was.
I mean, I homestead. You know, I live on a farm, but I've reduced my meat consumption because it's all sourced here. You know, and it.
That's
But it
the
means
best
that
kind.
like I haven't ruled it out completely, but it means so much more to me. You know, and it means so much more to me that the animals have the best quality of life possible.
Right.
In saying that, I have a few pictures hidden away of Jim being overly affectionate with animals, and with a little tweak here and there, it could be turned
Whoa.
into some OnlyFans. You know, man, I've got you very close, hugging and nearly
It was a
kissing a
convention.
llama.
Everybody was doing it.
All right, I've got you nearly
everyone-
Oh my
hugging
god,
and
that made
kissing.
it worse. That made it worse.
I've got Jim
I just made it
nearly
worse.
hugging and
You made
kissing
him
a
double
llama.
down,
I think
so
it is.
much worse.
What is it, Jim? A llama? Is it a llama or
Alpaca.
an alpaca? I have got Jim nearly making out with an alpaca, and I also have pictures of Jim,
An alpaca.
and I have
We're
pictures of.
just got our heads squished. It's just a selfie.
And I have pictures of Jim. Right? Oh, Phoebe, you're gonna love this. You're gonna demand
just
that I
me and El
send it.
Chapo.
I have pictures of Jim in a kilt doing a Marilyn Monroe over a wind thing.
That did happen in front of the Alamo.
True Scotsman or not?
over a
He's a
over
true Scotsman.
over
He's
one
a
of
true
those
Scotsman.
steam grates.
And I could, we could have a combination and make some OnlyFans
Yeah,
footage here.
that happened.
So you behave yourself, Jim. You behave yourself.
All of San Antonio saw both cheeks.
Phoebe, we should chat. Anyway, John, thank you very much for coming on.
I will say there is one situation in this world where I will never
Go to my Patreon.
any animal product.
John, thank you very much for coming on. We're going to stop talking about
Thank you
Jim.
so much for having me on, and thank you all for asking me questions, engaging with me. This was really fun. I had a great
Yeah,
time.
yeah. If you
And
feel like
I'd
ever doing anything
love to
on
come
your
back.
own
Yeah.
on your own channel, something similar to this, I will sacrifice
For sure.
myself to the lambs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Ontangelo has he just left as I said that. Ontangelo has been hanging around in the background, but we weren't doing that tonight. So I do
Angelo
apologize.
sounds like a Pokemon.
No, I just no. Jim's already talked over everybody enough for tonight. So I'm not an asshole. I just sound like one. I keep telling everybody this. John, thank you very much. Come on, Jim. Love
Thanks,
the
man.
Bungie. Red, it has been wonderful meeting you. Sammy, I missed the Bungie, man. Absolutely love you. We're not even going to mention Phoebe or look in her direction, just to shrink her ego down ever so slightly.
I have been
And,
surprisingly quiet tonight.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Oh shit, man. John, really, definitely have to do this again some Thursday night. We'll get you on
Sounds
for
great.
an open mic. We'll get a better topic where you are not the focus of attention, where we all want to pick on you. And
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm not good at not doing that. So if I'm here, that might end up
But,
happening, but in a loving way.
If we were say to talk sake to say have the topic how
Yeah,
say
I mean,
Sa-
I'd rather do it like in person and like over some drinks. But
Oh,
like, this is
swear to
fun,
fuck,
you know?
man. The whole idea for this channel is an Irish pub on a Friday night. You go in,
Yeah.
you have a bit of crack, everybody
be-
says exactly what they mean. You take the pool cue and disagree with the fucker, and you hit him over the back, and then next week when he comes back, you buy him a pint and tell him you're sorry.
Yeah, that's ideal.
And at the end of the night, somebody has to carry you home.
Yeah, right.
There's always that one stoned American that won't stop talking.
Jim, I've missed you. I've missed you. We wouldn't, but I've missed you. I was looking back the other one that we had with me, you, and Shay, the after party where you did the rap. I was looking at your rap there.
Oh shit.
Oh, that's what we're going to use as the out video. That's what we're going.
No.
You talk for a minute. You talk for a minute,
No,
and I'm gonna find
no,
Jim's
no,
rap.
no.
I'm finding
So-
Jim's rap.
okay,
John,
I'll
chill
fill
yourself.
the void.
John,
I'll fill the
no,
void.
ego lady, shush. John, the show is yours. Chill yourself. What have you got coming up?
I don't have anything coming up right in the next couple of weeks.
Don't say that, or Phoebe will talk.
No, in July.
Supposed to have me on.
Yeah, I've got to have Jim on. I got to schedule that with you in July. On Apocolplypse Here, we're having a pastor named Melissa Fleur Bixler, who wrote a book called How to Have an Enemy. She's a wonderful pastor, Mennonite. She wrote a book called Finding God in the Old Testament that's really, really, really good. Really good lay level stuff. And then this new book on How to Have an Enemy. I've started reading it, the review copy, and it's pretty friggin' awesome. So I'm excited to have her on. That's all I've got scheduled for now. Other than that, I'll probably put out some essay review videos like I do occasionally. And yeah, I got to be in contact with you, Jim. Need you on.
That's
For sure.
perfect. I just found it just as you finished.
Oh.
Perfect. Yeah. Next week I've got Son of a Dog coming on. If anyone's seen Son of a Dog, interesting channel. Obviously atheist, plays with the whole. He's got Jesus as like a puppy. It's funny. It's like a cartoon character. It's good. He's coming on a couple of next week, and Saturday 1 week we are having the celebration for Jim Major's. No offense to the Christians, 666 series that he did on the Bible. There, I think, was 46 people contributed. He did ask me. I was too fucking busy with shit going on with the stream, the 24-hour one and all. Couldn't contribute, so I'm going to host and produce and make it pretty as my contribution. So that'll be here this Saturday 1 week. I think there's upwards of 46 invites went out, so that should be an awful lot of fun. On Tangelo, I know you've just popped into the back, literally, as we're ending with Jim's rap. So, John, thank you very much.
Go like and subscribe my channel.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/Apocolplypse Here. Go do it.
Spell apocalypse correctly. Make sure you
Spell
do
it
that.
correctly. You'll just find it. Just Google Apocolplypse Here. It's on there.
Right.
Don't spell it
let me
apostasy
see.
or something.
And here's HERE.
We have
yeah,
Jim
right.
Major's
It's not
late night
like-
angry rap, right? It is now
Is it
taking
all
up
one
the whole...
word, or did it have like an underscore or anything?
I was drunk. I don't do that.
You were man. It is perfect. And this is the edited video. I put like pictures and stuff to it. This is yeah. This is back when I didn't do good production. So please don't pick on my really bad production. Okay. Let me see if I can do this so that the actual people in the Hangout see as well. If I switch that on, and then hit that button, and then hit this button, and that button, then I think the people in the Hangout should see as well as the people in the audience. Did that work?
Yes.
Oh, I am so good at this live production shit. Pay me, people. Pay me. Right. On this, we will say thank you very much to everybody for coming. Thank you to the Patreons that contributed. Thank you to everybody. And a huge thank you to Apocalypse Now, John, that has come. So, on that, please, Jim, I love you. Don't hate me for doing this. Love you. Bye, everybody. And by the way, the people,
family.
just to let you know, the people in the Hangout, if you talk while this is happening, the audience will hear you. I can't split the audio. So, either be quiet for 3 minutes or make fun of Jim for at least half of it. The choice is yours.
Yeah, just keep talking. It's fine.
Okay, Jim, this is brilliant. Jim's angry late night rap at 4 and 5 in the morning after Jill just kicked us from a Hangout for trying to talk.
Sorry, start over. I'm sorry. Alright.
This is all improvised off. He just improvised the whole fucking thing, by the way, alright? This is also like a year ago. This is class. Right, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Bring it up, man. Bring down that beat.
declining phone calls and the unanswered texts. Jesus is Lord, but he's scared to get next. Praise that I am ain't demanding, and I wish him the best, but I ain't going to bed. I got this weight on my chest. Call me back, where you at? Don't you believe your word is blessed? Yesterday we had debates. Did you give the right address? I'm stressed and feel depressed, and my texts are already questions. Are you messed up on some drugs? Is something fucked up with your head? Now the word is out, and everybody knows. Twitter, Facebook, and I'm blowing up my phone. You're hiding in your house and you still feel all alone. I'm in Houston feeling Whitney, shout out Post Malone. You talking about what you don't read, trying to fill a hole. You wash it down with nonsense while I load another bowl. I'm blurring out my vision and your shit is black as coal. The edge is gone and I can breathe, but you have lost control. Now my plan of attack is on the track to be more. I'm pulling out the Bible, none of this is important. Gas and matches on the mattress, leave it like a divorce. Huh, what? Get some more. Yeah, so I'm bandaging the damage that I've bandaged before, and I'm talking shit about the shit I talked about before. Disadvantages I manage, man, it's happened before. Tried to vanish in your shit, man, my back is at the door. For those asking questions, this is best for his health. His depression and aggression, I confess he needs help. He has to find a place where he is fine with himself. Just don't give him no Bible or he'll keep going melt. And man, look, no offense, I know you mean well. I know that you love Jesus and you want him to tell you what this life is about and what it means for yourself. But this ain't about Jesus, cause this is my personal hell.
Ugh.
Word.
Yeah.
Why? Why,
Wait,
MathPig?
wait. Yeah.
I always got
Yeah, I'm torturing more to you. I'm blind to your pain. Worrying sort of means that it's hard to unchain from the guilt that I've built, but I can't run away. Yeah, you're bloodstained and ashamed, but I'm turning your pages and I'm bandaging the damage that I bandaged before. And I'm bagging up the baggage that I've stacked at the door. Disadvantage, but advancing, man, I'm glad to report. You would vanish if it wasn't for the ones you ignore. Yeah, put me on mute. Put me on mute.
I lost so much street cred.
Backstage.
No, I think it's on
Word.
the contrary. Yeah.
I was so drunk. All right.
There's the donkey. There's a
out.
donkey.
And the
Hey
donkey.
guys, that was awful. I wish I really wish you would have given me time to prepare that.
Blah, 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 blah. Go, shut up. Drunk.
Everybody, thank you very
that's
much
really
for
good.
coming. Thank you very much for
I
coming.
lost it in the wristwatch.
It's been a wonderful stream. Yeah, I'm switching it off now.